Hi, I'm Bob Doris. I'm an acupuncture physician and a practitioner of Oriental medicine since 1993. Since you're watching this video, you probably already know about acid and alkaline, and that you most likely need to be drinking alkaline water. If this doesn't sound familiar to you at all, you want to look at that whole concept because it really might contain the answers to your health problems if you have some. There's plenty of information available about it on the internet, or you can just follow links on my website and you'll get a good education on it there. What I'm going to talk about today on this video is not drinking alkaline water. That's probably a given for most of you. I'd like to tell you a bit about eating for health. I'm seeing quite a few people who are trying to do the right thing for themselves. They're drinking alkaline water, they're attempting to eat better, but I see that most people, even health-conscious people, and certainly everyone who's ever walked in the doors of my clinic, are missing key points on how to eat. Now you might be thinking, well, I've read a lot, or I've seen a nutritionist, I eat a lot of vegetables, salads, or I'm juicing, so I'm doing everything right. But I've had plenty of sick people come to my clinic who've been doing those things for years, and it really hasn't worked for them. Maybe it works for a while, and then it stops, and they start developing other health problems. So if that sounds like you might want to listen to what I've got to say here. Let me give you just a little bit of insight into the dietary principles of traditional Chinese medicine. If you don't know anything about traditional Chinese medicine and their dietary principles, you may be missing some of the key points on how to eat and drink to be healthy. And it very well may be those key points that you're missing that are causing your health problems if you're sick now. The reason I can say that is because that's exactly where I was before I learned Chinese dietary principles and started applying them to my eating. I had been trying to do the right thing for many years. I was shopping at the health food stores, I was eating lots of natural foods, salads, granolas, eating a lot of fruit, and I became extremely sick. I had bad digestion, bad elimination, sinus problems, I was really tired all the time. My hands and feet were like ice. I had terrible circulation. I was really a mess. And my family didn't think I was going to survive for more than another year or so. I went to specialists. I had upper and lower GI series done, and nobody could tell me what was wrong. I did try acupuncture, and it helped me somewhat. So I became interested in Oriental medicine, and I ended up going to school to study acupuncture and the other techniques from traditional Chinese medicine. During a lunch break one day in school, I was sitting in class and eating a raw carrot. And one of my teachers, Dr. Lee, came through, and he looked at me and he said, "What are you doing?" And I told him, and he said, "Don't do that." He had never seen anybody eat a raw carrot before. Now, he had just come from China. He said, "They don't do it there." And he said, "I shouldn't do it. It's terrible for my digestion." And so I told him a little bit about my health problems, and he gave me some suggestions from the Chinese dietary principles. I followed them. After a few weeks, I felt better than I had in years, and my problems never came back. A couple of times I stopped following those principles. I started to develop the problems back a little bit. I got back on track, and they went away. These were really some simple changes, but I have to say they may have even saved my life. So after studying traditional Chinese medicine for a long time now, I've realized there's some key differences between the way that the Chinese understand diet and how to eat and the way that we do here in the West. The biggest difference, now this is subtle, but it's very important, is that we look at a food, for example, that raw carrot that I mentioned, and we say, what's in that carrot? It's got maybe 100 units of vitamin A. And then we determine whether it's good for us or not by what is in it. So think about that. What you know about foods is usually what's in the food. It's protein, fat, carbs, vitamins, etc. In traditional Chinese medicine, they look at the food, they look at the person after eating the food, and they say, how did it affect his or her body? And that's how they determine whether the food is good for you, whether it's appropriate or not. So what is in the food as compared to what it does for you? It's two different perspectives. It's subtle, but it makes a big difference. As far as what food does for you, no one has more experience with that than the Chinese do. Like all their medicines, they have thousands of years of studying the human body and its relation to food, its relation to nature. So their ideas aren't just based on theories which may or may not prove true some time from now. They're based on an observation of what actually works or what they've seen, and they just report it without bias. If you don't understand this, then think in terms of overweight people. Say people you know who eat salads all day, but they can't seem to lose weight. Well, salads can be low in calories, they are low in calories, but just as low in calories doesn't tell you anything about how the salad affects your digestion or your metabolism. In other words, what's in it doesn't tell you how it affects your body. Think about your own experience when you've eaten something that should be good for you. Maybe you had melon, or you ate a big salad yourself, for example, and afterwards you felt your digestion was kind of upset. It was hard to digest. Maybe you felt bloated. Well, regardless of how many nutrients were in it, if you felt bloated, if you felt bad afterwards, it hurt your digestion. It damaged you. It didn't help you. So another big difference between the two perspectives on how to eat is that in Western perspective, you need to be a scientist just to have a meal. You have to understand cholesterol, fats, carbs, protein, enzyme, acid and alkaline. You have to be a genius just to eat. Now think about animals out in the wild. Animals don't know any of that. And for the most part, the animals in the wild are healthier than humans are. So it should give you a clue that there's something wrong with our approach to understanding how to eat. By contrast, traditional Chinese medicine uses terms that are pretty intuitive for us to understand. It uses terms of nature. For example, if I describe your digestion as being a warm process, in the sense of any process in your body requires energy, and energy is warm. Well, you understand when you're alive, you're warm, and when you're dead, we say you're stone cold dead. So the actual act of living is a warm process. So if I told you a certain food has a cold nature to it, you'd understand that cold puts out heat, and that cold food might be bad for the warm process of your digestion. So you would intuitively understand that it's fairly profound. It's an easier method to understand how to eat, and it's part of the language that Chinese dietary principles uses to help you understand how to eat and to be healthy. And it's much simpler than the way we approach it here in the West. Anyways, I teach the Chinese dietary principles to every single patient that comes to me with any type of internal health problem. And it's helped a lot of people get over headaches, allergies, digestive problems, like constipation, diarrhea, emotional problems, and probably more than anything else, it helps people lose weight, particularly when nothing else works for you. The weight just seems to melt off when you follow these principles. The conventional understanding of eating less calories, such as focusing on salads, doesn't work for some people. And again, it's because you're looking at what's in the food, the calories, for example, as compared to how that food affects you or affects your metabolism. To wrap this up and briefly get back to the water ionizer topic and why I've done this video, if you understand acid and alkaline water and you're looking to buy a water ionizer like I recommend for all my patients, there's plenty of places to buy them. If the Chinese dietary principles that I've just talked about interest you and you'd like to purchase your water ionizer from me, I can send you the DVD of the Chinese dietary principles that contains all the principles I teach to every one of my patients. These principles have helped and have been the key for many of my patients to get over the health problems, and it's safe to say they were responsible for turning my health around and possibly even saving my life. If that interests you, you can get the information about purchasing an ionizer on the website. Good luck and good health.